So when you have people, I think, that are not qualified.
This was a manned mission. There were human lives on the line. The best fighting force in the world was willing to share war plans on a text message app.
Well, there is a dispute.
Let's talk about the incompetence of the Trump administration leaking war plans in a group chat. Yes, you heard that right, starting with the CNN panel. So take a moment, leave us a like. It helps us ingest this chaos a little easier. It gets the channel out there in a way you couldn't imagine. And let's get into the chaos otherwise.
So when you have people, I think, that are not qualified to be in roles and taking on these things, but also kind of not qualified in terms of competence and knowing how things work, knowing how should we be using, what kinds of systems should we be using, what are the protocols? There are all kinds of questions that those arise. There is a larger issue, too, of accountability. How are we going to deal with this? It's not something that should just go away in the news cycle tomorrow. It is something that should be investigated. It should be investigated with oversight. And I have the real question I think we should be thinking about is, who is doing the investigating of the investigators? Right? So the Trump White House says, we'll take care of it. But the problem is, in lots and lots of these cases, there have been independent investigations. There have been congressional investigations, including on both sides of the aisle. But there have also been inspectors general's investigations, right? This is how you pinpoint the problem. What do you do when those options are gone?
It's actually a frightening level of incompetence, to the point that when I first saw this, I thought it has to be fake. This can't be real. Even when it was circulating social media, even when credible journalists were sharing it. And then for all of MAGA to have ragged on Biden for his DEI cabinet, what is the comparable action to this? I'm sure that most have seen it by now, so we won't dive too deep into recounting it. But for those who haven't, a reporter with The Atlantic was included in a Signal group chat by Mike Waltz, Trump's national security advisor, in which they shared plans to carry out an attack on the Houthis. This included when and where, and there's multiple layers of problems with this. Signal is a public app. They were on unsecured non-government devices. This is on vanish mode. All of these things make it illegal. All of these things threaten national security. When pressed, nobody in high level knew how this happened. Pete Hegseth tried to deny it at first, and the White House came out and admitted it. There's no inspectors generals to carry out an investigation on this since Trump fired them. So it's down to oopsies, where we know, of course, Trump is more concerned with reputation than truth. So like a self-investigation, which is to the extent we'll get one, that's all it will get. It means little will come from this, and it's just as likely to happen again, possibly worse.
If you notice, the group name was Houthis PC Group. PC, people who don't know, stands for Principals Committee. In the White House, you have staff level meetings, you have deputy level meetings, and then you have Principals Committee meetings. In order to be eligible to be in a Principals Committee meeting, you have to be secretary level or above. So as mentioned, this is a systemic thing where this is the most senior people in our administration who are being careless with information and classified data. And surely it's not the first time that they have done this. And I think the most important thing about this particular case that people should understand is that this was not just a drone strike, although that would be very, very concerning regardless of that. But this was a manned mission. There were human lives on the line for this mission. So the fact that this could have fallen into wrong hands because of this carelessness would have potentially impacted the lives of American soldiers.
Did I see you? That is important to stress here. There were human lives on the line. Humans were involved in this mission. The recipient of this text could have been anybody. There was clearly little regard put into it. It could have been an enemy, a member of the Houthis, or someone aligned with enemy interests. It could have even just been a journalist who immediately leaks the story rather than waiting till after the attack. And then boom, instantly the lives of all of the troops involved are now at risk. For all we heard about the Hillary private server, which had no civilian leaks, it's insane how nonchalant MAGA is about this, where they just want to kind of sweep it under the rug. Trump, who chanted "lock her up" about Hillary, came to the defense of Mike Waltz and Pete Hegseth about this. Again, despite there being actual lives on the line. Again, despite U.S. officials doing this on unsecured non-government devices, despite doing it in vanish mode, all of which is illegal, despite doing it on a public app. I mean, the insanity of this cannot be understated.
When you make a mistake, you own up to it, you investigate the cause of it.
Did Pete Hegseth just own up to it, admit to it?
Well, look, I don't think there's, the White House has
admitted. I think the answer there is no, though, right?
The head of the National Security Council and his spokesman have said these appear to be authentic messages, so they have absolutely validated that it occurred. So you own up to it, you figure out what happened, and you use it as a teachable moment, which is don't make these kinds of mistakes again, and you learn from it. And I agree, you do try to move forward. But I agree with you. You have to look into these things. You can't slough it off. It's an important deal. And I'm sure there's more details about it that we don't know yet, but that's what an investigation would uncover.
But what does it say that our Secretary of Defense, who leads the largest employer in the entire world, 2.9 million people, and who oversees the best fighting force in the world, was willing to share war plans on a text message app?
Well, there is a dispute.
Let's just put the comparison here where the Secretary of Defense was essentially calling it a scam. MAGA is online posting the owner of the Atlantic, which is Ghislaine Maxwell, despite that one not having anything to do with the journalist who broke this story and them not minding Elon Musk being best friends with her, where again, they're just like, we'll look into it. That's all Trump is saying about this. Compared to how they reacted to Hillary, right? Calling for her head, chanting, lock her up, saying Trump was justified in weaponizing the DOJ against her, all for something that led to no leaks, where nothing was really ever shared that was sensitive. Where are the MAGA with the same energy for Mike Waltz, for Pete Hegseth, for everyone in the group chat? Where's the calls to impeach Trump for letting this happen, where U.S. troops' lives were at risk, war plans were leaked? Like, this isn't something that you just say oops to. Like, aren't we supposed to be outraged, MAGA? I mean, despite how MAGA will try to downplay this, this is literally insane levels of incompetence. Like, I mean, it's one thing for us all to know the Trump administration is incompetent, and then it's another thing to seriously, 2 months in, see things like this already playing out. How many times are we going to let them say whoops about something before we say, okay, maybe these people aren't fit to be running our country?